The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber. So I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn, ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn, tell people to stay off the lawn, compare it to your neighbor's lawn, and complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Brian. Where are the Tremerts today?
This is the best show open we've ever had.
Yeah. Are we on the air?
We're on the air, yeah. Happy birthday, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, let's not.
I'll give Michael a round of applause for living another year.
Sometimes there's times where I don't think I'm going to live another day.
And there are times I agree with you.
Or another hour.
So how old are you now?
I don't even know.
Oh, come on.
I can't remember.
Come on.
Can't remember.
48?
Yes. Hey, calm down.
Am I right?
No. 48.
52?
Please. No. I feel like I'm 48.
59? Tell me when I get close.
I don't say the ages,
68?
I'm in the 30s. Still. I've been in the 30s forever.
42.
Yeah. There you go. You pegged it.
Okay, there we go. 42. Boy, you don't look a day over 46.
Yeah, I know.
So how you feeling?
I feel tired. I feel old. I feel like I'm living the dream, though, covering the Minnesota Wild. So.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Yeah. Let's talk about your life.
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, so I guess if Brian's around, we do want to get the hockey game on the TVs. We got a bunch of hockey fans in here. We would like to see the Blues-Bruins Game 7. This is the Russo-Souhan Show. He's Michael Russo. This is part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. Thank you to everybody who came out. Love that our regulars, Vicky and Clyde, are wearing their summer gear now. That's a good sign for all of us. And John Hedges found a light rail that goes to Savage. That's fantastic. Yes. It wasn't a shot. I mean, I appreciate you coming out, So thanks to our sponsors. We are at the Tin Shed in Savage, by the way. The next show we do live here will be June 26th, 7 p.m. It will be our 200th episode of the Russo-Souhan Show, and Brian from Tin Shed will give away 2 tickets to a future Wild game at that show, but you have to be here to sign up for those tickets. They're right here to my right, the sign-up sheet and also the start of the show suggestion box. You have to be here to sign up, and you have to be here to win. So good luck to you. Sign up tonight and come back on the 26th, and Brian will give you 2 tickets to the Wild game. Thanks to Tin Shed and Savage, Twill and the Edina Galleria, Fixology Repair, John Hedges' shops, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, and BiteSquad.com. So, every once in a while we do talk about things other than hockey.
Yeah.
So you've been covering hockey for how many years now?
Next season will be my 25th.
25th. Yeah. Wow. And, I was a beat writer for a while. I covered high school sports. I covered the NFL for 4 years. I covered baseball for 5 years. And then I kind of started doing this type of stuff. It's a hard job. I talked about this.
Hard.
Well, I talked about
Sometimes some days are harder than others. But.
Well, of course, like any job.
Yeah.
But the challenge is you are dealing with the same people in the same organization day after day. And the hardest thing in that job, I know from experience, is ticking somebody off and then still having to deal with them every day.
No, that's it. And right now it seems I tick a lot of people off. So, and by the way, I am distracted now because I'm dealing with about 3 different wild stories at once, and I stupidly just dropped a bomb on a player. He's texting me right now. So I might be a little distracted during the show.
That would be so unusual.
But in terms of what you just said, I mean that is the thing that you always have to balance. It was a lot easier in the old days when you didn't have so many mechanisms to tick people off, like podcasts and radio shows, and usually I don't even know what I said or when I said it. That got somebody ticked off. But usually you were able to, Eric Tehachi just wrote a great story about the relationship between a beat writer and a player back in The Athletic like a month ago. And it's so true is back in the old days, it was just such a closer relationship because they weren't almost intimidated by you because they had, in a lot of ways they had less ways of sort of getting burnt. And now it's, and a lot of it is on the beat writer as well to not say something that maybe he wouldn't put in print type thing. And so every day it's something. I tell my friends all the time, and my friends witness it. I mean, every day it's something, some sort of fire you're putting out. I think if the fan knew the stuff behind the scenes that you deal with on an everyday basis, at least I do. It's sometimes it gets a little bit of stressful.
And it has changed because, as you said, in the old days, you really only worried about what you wrote and what they read. And now it's, social media has become its own monster. I'm going to look over Mike's shoulder. I can't believe Wayne Gretzky is general manager. Wow. That'd be interesting. Hey, we want to thank Tin Shed for hosting us, and we also thank Lou Nanny for coming out to our last live show. He was a blast, and he was great to all of our listeners and our regulars here. Let's
but in terms of the job, it's still a fun job. It's not as I'm fascinated by people that have real jobs that actually do some heavy lifting. I was talking to somebody yesterday on just via text or whatever that just I think he worked for a nonprofit that goes all over the world, and it's like that's a real job, not what we have or you. Wouldn't it be nice to be a columnist? You write 3 stories a week, do a couple podcasts.
4.
Oh, my God. 4 stories a week. Okay.
4, buddy. That's 33% more than you're giving me credit for.
That was good math. There's no chance I would have been able to do that.
We know.
Yeah.
So now you're 42. You're close to your 25th year of beat writing, and you bought a house. How close are you to growing up?
Maybe that's why I'm having so much anxiety. I'm not close to growing up, but I don't know. It's been fun. Every day, though, it's something. Got the Aero Garden up and working, though. Holy mackerel, I got a little, romaine lettuce now. It's, literally, that big. Got a little spring mix over here. Banana peppers aren't exactly coming in. And then I have another great purchase the other day. So Dave Carroll, Banjo Dave from Trample by Turtles, his dad is amazing with wood, and he's got a whole workshop in his garage that he just sells creates all these unbelievable things. I mean, they're just amazing. And so he made these single cigar humidors where you just put a cigar in there and it's a humidor, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I cannot believe that this guy creates this stuff. Different types of woods, different colors, all this stuff. So I went over to his house the other day just to buy one. And then I'm like, wow, this is unreal. And I wound up buying 3 of them.
Of course you did.
Just for gifts, at this time of year. They are just unreal. I just cannot believe that somebody is able to create this stuff. So if you ever want to get in touch with him, he's got everything, cutting board. And he makes that of ridiculous stuff. So if you ever want to buy some cool gifts or things for the house, I can put you in touch with Banjo Dave's dad. So what
was your best birthday gift that you received?
I haven't gotten any really. Not one.
Your family's just in town.
No. I would say I think my mom's gift just transcends. She basically furnished my house. My mother, believe it or not, ridiculous amount of money.
Good.
And then that was her gift, which is good. And my brother was just over there, and he's like, "What do you need for the house?" And I was like, "A hose." And he's like, "I'm not getting you a hose." So I actually think he's going to get me my patio furniture. So I got some really cool gifts coming. But in terms of other gifts, not much.
Well, I was talking to my wife.
We're not big gift givers.
I was talking to my wife. I was like, should I get Russo something? We're doing a live show for, and she said,
you should.
And she said, no, because I'm afraid what he would get you. And I thought that was the right answer.
Yeah. So, yep. Just make sure that we're still plugged in here because it kind of went weird here. So
we are live at the Tin Shed in Savage, 952-736-2444. GPS it. It's easy to find. They do events. They have tons of big screen TVs. We're watching Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final right now.
Has Coyle scored yet?
Great food. He's scored twice, I think.
Yeah.
No, wait,
I'm being nice. This is a positive show.
Well, that is positive because we like Charlie. Yeah. So it is a positive thing to say. Let me thank our primary sponsor, Twill in the Dining Galleria.
Edelman.
Twill in the Dining Galleria, twillmn.com, TWILL on Instagram. It's again, and obviously it's in the Dining Galleria. I love their stuff. I've been wearing their stuff. I'm not wearing their stuff tonight, but I've been wearing their stuff pretty much everywhere. Check them out, twillmn.com. I'm here with my wife, Stacy. We went to Twill in the Dining Galleria the other day. We saw Scott Dayton, and I bought the nicest sport jacket I've ever owned, the most comfortable pants I've ever owned. They're Brax. A nice pair of loafers that I can wear to the ballpark. I think they're called Tracks. And I bought a bunch of Stenstrom short sleeve shirts to go with my Stenstrom nice dress shirts. And, I used to wear just disposable clothes. Now when I buy something, I buy it at Twill. I know it's going to last me the rest of my life and it's going to be comfortable.
And on top of that, it's not just the best stuff you've ever had, but it's really everyday things that you can wear and that will fit all occasions.
Yeah, I've worn the Stenstrom short sleeve shirts every day this week. When I dress up or even just want to look nice at a game or a Lynx game or something, I wear the Stenstrom dress shirts. But really, the Brax pants are the most comfortable I've ever worn. They are more comfortable than jeans. I never thought I'd have anything more comfortable than a broken-in pair of jeans.
And he keeps saying that, Scott, so thank you very much.
Twill in the Dining Galleria, twillmn.com, Twill on Instagram. So my question for you, Michael, is...
To me, this is the coolest part of a hockey game right here, like at the beginning when these guys come out and the things they say to each other. And it's really neat. Like, so at Rexall Place in Edmonton, before they were at the new building there, the only bathroom, like there was no bathroom in the press box. So if you had to use the bathroom, you had to go basically down to the Wild locker room. And so a lot of times, like before the period, I would essentially be there when the Wild were going out. And it's kind of the one of the coolest scenes, all the stuff they do and the little routines that they have here.
And hockey has.
I'm talking about when they, just for people listening on the podcast, I'm talking about when they go out for warm-ups and they do their old, the things they say. I really genuinely believe, I mean, this might sound stupid, but part of the loss of Matt Dumba this year was losing that energy before a game, before a period of all those weird stuff that he would do to pump up his teammates. Stuff like that matters. And I think that is one thing that Paul Fenton's really banking on this year is that Dumba's going to come back and not only help on the ice, but really kind of be an energy guy for that locker room.
Hockey is still one of those sports where you feel like there's some claustrophobia, where there are limited places for the players to go. The locker rooms are still pretty small. And, baseball, it's gone from having that feel like in the Metrodome where nobody had any room at all to move around to these huge clubhouses where people can go hide or do yoga or something like that. And they always used to tell me when I was covering the Twins that they would love when Bob Casey would come out behind home plate in his little cubbyhole where he did the PA announcing, and he would run over to the dugout to use the bathroom. And so here they are in the middle of the World Series, and they're locking Bob Casey in the bathroom so he can't get back to his PA. I mean, that's hockey still kind of has that feel where, now that would never happen in Target Field because it's too nice and broadcasters don't have to be in places like that.
Yeah, no, have you been to the Wrigley Field visiting clubhouse? Yes. Holy mackerel.
Yeah. And Fenway Park is just as tiny.
God almighty. That place is just like you don't even want to touch anything. Yeah. It's so small. Speaking of practical jokes, so our mutual friend Andrew McCain,
Andrew
McCain, he's out in Kelowna this week in the Canadian Tour. So yesterday in his Pro-Am, he was with Todd Simpson, Jordan Tutu, and Wade Redden. And I'm telling you right now that Todd Simpson might have been the greatest practical joker that I think I've ever covered. And so I told him a story via text to ask Todd about, but one of the great stories, Todd Simpson. And the only reason why I know it is on this long road trip by the Panthers, we were in Ottawa, and they stayed overnight and were flying to Long Island the next morning to Farmington. And my flight to LaGuardia or something was canceled. And so I remember this is back in the day where you just I called Dwayne Sutter, the coach, up and begged him if I could get on the Panthers charter. So this is the only reason why I know this. But at the beginning of the road trip, Mike Sillinger, leaving Pittsburgh, I might have told this story in the podcast before, cut the nipple holes of Todd Simpson's shirt out of his dress shirt, and also stole his sports coat. So Todd Simpson, after the game, had to walk out of the arena with basically a dress shirt with 2 nipple holes, just showing. So then they get to the next city, and somebody, we assume somebody, stole the nickname of Mike Sillinger was Chops, because he wore all fake teeth. He basically wore dentures. And so before a game, they stole his teeth. Okay? And for the rest of the road trip, he had no teeth. He was just gums. And so the only reason why I know this is that we're in Ottawa and we're going through security. So all NHL teams, when they leave Canada to go to the United States, even if you're the Winnipeg Jets, you have to do this too. You go through regular commercial customs and all this stuff. So we're going through the terminal in Ottawa. And at the x-ray machine is Mike Sillinger looking in the x-ray machine of everybody's bag to see if he sees his teeth. So then we get to Long Island, and then we go to Philly. And I finally go to Sillinger. I go, did you find your teeth yet? And he goes, yeah, I did. And what happened was his wife called him in Philly. He goes, hey, how come somebody I got this box in the mail. How come somebody sent you my teeth? And that was Todd Simpson's way of getting Mike Sillinger back for this thing. So I told Andrew McCain about the story yesterday, and I think I'm getting all the facts right, but Simpson told the story. But I know Andrew had an absolute blast with those guys yesterday. I told him. So I was with Andrew. Andrew was back here very shortly, one day this weekend. So I went out to Delwood to watch him golf. We're on 9, and this guy off the tee hits at about 380. I mean, he is the best ball striker right now on the Canadian Tour. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so I just kind of told him, you're going to Kelowna. Every NHL player lives in Kelowna. You're going to, and the cool part of the PGA Tour on all these things is they get a sign-up sheet every week, every pro golfer, everybody from Tiger Woods to Spieth to Andrew McCain, and they get these things that they sign up for, whether it's clinics with people or pro-ams or whatever. So I said, I guarantee you this pro-am, you're going to be with all hockey players. I mean, that's just the way it is. And he's also playing in Halifax later in the tour, which he's going to wind up with Crosby and McKinnon and those guys, maybe Marchand and those guys. So he got Todd Simpson, Wade Redden, and Jordan Tutu, and he said he absolutely had an unbelievable time.
That's awesome. Boston and St. Louis are about to play Game 7. I'm interested in your opinion on this. I'm torn because I'm kind of sick of Boston winning everything all the time.
Yeah.
But then there's St. Louis, and I lived in St. Louis for 3 years. I'm not the biggest fan of the city or the arena, but then again, I feel like they got to win it sometime. This is their chance.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm pulling for St. Louis, but it feels really weird to be pulling for St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And the other thing here is, and again, we'll know the outcome here in a couple hours and by the podcast release tomorrow, but it's like the common thing, a home Game 7, you just expect the Bruins to win. But St. Louis has been a great road team, and Boston has been kind of a up and down home team. And every time we've doubted St. Louis this entire postseason, and frankly this season, they've absolutely made us look like idiots. So it wouldn't shock me if St. Louis wins this. I would still take the Bruins right now. But I've been wrong on every game in this series. It's unbelievable. Every single game. I was convinced Game 6 that St. Louis was just going to close it out the other day. Didn't happen. It's maddening how I just can't peg the series.
What has this playoff run done for Charlie Coyle's career?
Well, I mean, it's huge. He looks like the player the Wild always thought he was going to be. You know, he's just he's settled into a great role with that team. He's in front of his friends and family. I saw a tweet today from one of the reporters in Boston of every single human being in his life being at this game tonight. I can only imagine what it costs to get into this game. Dawn Mitchell went to game 1 of this series. I helped her get tickets, and what she paid there for would just cost without any fees and all that stuff is insane. So I can only imagine what a game 7 right now costs all these people or Coyle. I just can't believe Dawn paid it, frankly. And so I can only imagine what this costs right now, either secondary markets or just even if you get them through the team. And the problem is that it's not easy to get tickets even through the team. Like Nashville, especially who has a small arena, when they were in the finals a couple of years ago, players could not get family members into the building. My best friend was their basically their vice president of tickets. And if I called him up and I said, "Hey, can I get tickets to a game?" He couldn't get me, no matter what I wanted to pay to those games. It's nuts. And even in an arena this big, I think it'd be very hard. It's in a lot of ways, family members are on their own.
So time for live questions. We'll also take some Twitter questions later. You know the deal. The microphone is up by Brandon. Brandon is our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. He has a microphone there for you. Don't be shy. Come up and ask questions. While we're waiting for Vicky to come up and ask Philip Kallenberg's 18 questions, we will thank John Hedges and Fixology Repair. John is here tonight with his lovely bride. Fixologyrepair.com, locations in downtown Minneapolis in the Skyway. You've probably been by there if you're ever down there. Mall of America, 3rd floor by Nordstrom's. Right? That's the one I usually go to now. And a new location in St. Paul. John, if you want to come up and talk about the new location, feel free. Nope. No, he started. John usually considers coming up and talking, and then he has a beer and he's like, nah, forget it. So check out all 3 locations. Fixology Repair. Go to fixologyrepair.com. We use it all the time.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
Is Coyle scored
Why
yet?
so shy, Vicky? Okay, yeah. I mean, you have a list. You might as well come up and start reading off the list.
Be positive.
Not towards you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's his birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you feel older or wiser?
Neither. Well, no, definitely older.
There you go. Okay, this is just a comment from Philip.
Uh-huh.
Would you consider trading in your Breitling watch for an Apple Watch for trade season? Last year, you spent your birthday riding in a coffee shop with your battery-depleted phone, out of reach, constantly alerting you with non-wild news. A smartwatch would allow you to more easily check and dismiss your text messages.
Last year at the trade deadline, I was in a... Is that what he said?
That's what he said.
I can't even remember that. But no, I bought an Apple Watch like 2 years ago. Spent $650 on it. A month and a half later, maybe I sold it for $250 to a college kid that I know. Yeah. So that wasn't a very bright move. Yeah. I am looking. Like I love this Breitling watch, but I am looking at maybe changing up. Maybe getting a different type of watch.
Really?
Like wood?
Yeah. No. I was thinking. I don't know. I've been like on those like Bob's watches lately.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
And like JB Hudson and places like that. Looking at like I was gonna get a Rolex, but I was honestly about to pull the trigger on a Rolex, and I said that to John Hedges. He's like, "No, don't do it."
Thank you, John.
So.
Why would you buy a Rolex?
I don't know. Apparently,
why not?
Apparently, they're good. They appreciate too.
They tell time better than your Breitling?
Yeah. No, this Breitling is awesome. So.
Okay, then. Last off-season,
Uh-huh.
you said that the needed improvements were better up the middle, stronger on the back end, get some scoring. Has anything changed?
No, it's definitely not. It's worse. So So they will have to do some major work this offseason. We'll see. We'll see. I was just talking to an agent for the last hour, honestly, about some of the things that he's hearing and all that stuff, and it continues to be Zucker. The one thing I'll tell you is like, I still think the shoe could drop this summer. I'm just not convinced, if they don't make significant moves here in the next couple of weeks, that Spurgeon's just going to sign on the dotted line. I didn't talk to him today. I texted with Spurgeon a bit today, just because I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a baby born yesterday here in the Twin Cities named Spurgeon. I just thought that was cool, so I was texting him about that, and he was really humbled by it. I sent him a picture of the baby and everything, but I didn't talk to him about that. But I'm telling you, I'm talking to more and more people that says he is. I'm just shocked that Paul hasn't opened the door. They've talked a little bit, but they haven't opened the door to any sort of negotiation, and I just think that this is something that should have happened 3 weeks ago, because I just think that if all of a sudden Spurgeon in a week and a half is saying, you know what, I'm not signing right now all of a sudden you could be crap out of luck here to maybe move him, because this is the next weekend is the weekend that you can make a big deal like that. So I'm just surprised they haven't had that type of they haven't had any negotiation yet. So I just think that as a GM, you'd want to know whether or not he signed. Or he's going to sign. So,
how many athletic writers did you say were going to the draft?
Well, between people from headquarters, editors, and writers, 65
Why?
people. Well, we're having a huge meeting on Thursday. That's a big part of it. It's a chance for our headquarters to talk to us. But yeah, I mean, we got 40 beat writers probably, the national guys, the analytical people, the prospect people, and the editors, and it's a lot of people.
Speaking of analytics people, the two guys, the woman and the guy that left, weren't they the ones that ran that top website?
War on Ice. Yep.
Bad move. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I was going to say, oops.
Yeah, they definitely have to replace him. I mean, they definitely have to replace him. I mean, Andrew's gone, and Alex is basically gone. I don't even know if she's going to Vancouver anymore. So she's, I'm pretty sure that she's got her next job, which is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a shame when we had the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do want to point out one more thing. To commemorate your birthday, Whitecap season ticket holder,
Oh, yeah?
Luke Cahill.
Luke, good to see you,
Made
Luke.
it
Thanks for
to-
coming out.
I see you again.
Yay. All right, that's all.
Thank
I
you, Vicki.
have.
Appreciate it. And thank you, Philip, for sending your questions in. So how was your conversation with Fenton?
It was good. It was we talked for 2 hours in his office. It's always interesting going into that office because I've been in there with Risebrow, I've been in there with Chuck, and I've been in there with Fenton now, and just kind of the way they all redecorate it, but yet it's always still the same. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of interesting.
What was interesting about it this time?
I'll tell you what was interesting about it on Risebrow. I'll give you a little secret. So I'm sitting there in the middle of July one year, and I'm meeting with Riser, and I'm looking at the depth chart against the wall, and I'm like, Mark Parrish's name isn't on that depth chart. So then I leave his office. I felt like, have you ever seen the movie The Paper, where Michael Keaton steals the thing off the New York Times' desk or whatever it was? That's what I felt like. I'm like, I could not wait to get out of there. I made 2 phone calls, and I found out that Parrish was bought out, and we broke it at the Strib. And it was all because I essentially swiped it from the GM's office. But no depth chart hanging in Paul Fenton's office, or maybe he took it down before I showed up. So that was the one thing I was looking forward to. He probably cleansed that office before I got in, took everything off his desk and everything. But it was a good conversation. It was healthy for both of us to sit there for a couple hours. About 100 minutes of the 120 was a tape recorder in the pocket and us just talking about stuff. And then the last 20 minutes, I interviewed him for the story today, and so that was good. And just talking frankly about the team, about an important off season ahead.
Okie dokie. Fire away. Peace.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Thank you. You Matt Calvert's dad or no?
No.
Okay.
Dad?
Yeah, Matt
Brother.
Calvert. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Younger brother.
Actually, more so than being worried about Coyle up here, it's Corelli. I guess we didn't need him, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was reading on the internet somewhere recently that the Wild are blaming you for their lack of season ticket sales. Is that true?
Is that really what people are saying, or no? Yeah, I don't.
saying that.
There is some truth to that, though. I think that they're dealing with a lot of stuff in there. I actually feel bad. I mean, the owner, the president of this team, all the people in tickets, I mean, they pour their heart and soul into building this brand and working their butt off to get people in the building, and they've worked for 20 years to make this thing, a reputable organization. And right now, just through a lot of different reasons, I mean, they're at a crossroads. They're at the most stressful time in a long time, and I think they're feeling it right now. 85% renewals is not at all like tragic. The question, the one thing I will say, and they're not, a lot of these things, I mean, you saw I kind of had to do some math, but a lot of things is I am interested, and Matt obviously was going to divulge this, is what's the 85% breakdown? What is the revenue breakdown? Because if a lot of those 85% are the 11-pack people and the 22-pack people, and the where they've lost their 7 or 8% are on full season tickets, that's a huge loss in revenue for a cap team. And so they are at a crossroads right now. I mean, you hate to say it, but they almost need to make a splash this summer to get fans back on board here. But I do think it goes beyond just the team. I mean, just reading I got emails about my story and reading the comments in the section. I do think that the team also has to work. This is beyond just the stuff that Paul Fenton has done with acquisitions and transactions and things like that. I mean, they've got to bring up the value of being a season ticket holder again. The game ops, I think, is a huge thing. It's become a sterile environment. We've talked about this. That's one thing. They've almost got to overhaul a lot of things. And just the way that people also take in sports now. It's like, even just going to, regardless of the price, to 2.5-hour hockey game, young kids usually don't even want to do that type of stuff. They want to, hey, what's being said on Twitter and all that. So it's kind of the Twitter universe that we're in now. Even articles, it's like, just tell me in 120 or whatever it is. What is Twitter now?
140 or 280?
280. Just tell us in 280 characters what the heck happened in the game.
Well, you talked a lot last year about, this rebuild, and I think a lot of us, after the season got going, realized you got to blow it up and get it going again, and so I get that.
But I will say this, just to interrupt you, Mr. Calvert. I remember sitting here. I remember actually almost like looking you in the eye at one podcast, Vicky, and telling you, like, rebuilds are painful, and we're seeing it now. Like, most rebuilds would still be a tweak or two. You trade Nino and Coyle, you trade Granlund and Nino, you trade two of them. They are blowing this thing up right now, and we're seeing the repercussions. If you don't get, studs, immediate studs back that are molded hockey players. I'm not saying that Donato and Fiala can't get there, but they are still young. They have to develop into that. So
that leads into the question, I'll give Fenton somewhat the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. He's new. Mm-hmm. Is he learning from his mistakes, or is he just too arrogant to...
Well, no, I think that he realizes, some of the things that he has to do this summer. I really do. Just talking with him the other day, I think he's got a pretty decent sense of where they are right now. But it is back to sort of a lot of the issues that Chuck Fletcher dealt with, where it's like, it's kind of twofold. Like Paul wants to fill the cupboards and, build through young and speed and things like that. But then, you got the pressure upstairs of make the playoffs. So it's like, again, it's like, that's why all of a sudden you turn to go and get Phil Kessel. And so that's the one thing, is that they need to come up with a consistent plan here and just kind of go with that. But again, I just, what I worry about is just what is the perception out there amongst agents, players, everything about coming to Minnesota right now. Are they getting the scrap pile, or are they getting actual go-to guys? I mean, that Phil Kessel story I wrote a couple weeks ago is real. I mean, that is what he felt about this team. And another thing is, like, the Wild, I'm pretty sure Brock Nelson wanted to play in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure Brock Nelson, through the grapevine, had heard that Minnesota was going to come after him. So here's a kid that wants to play here and knows they're going to come after him, and he still decided before free agency to go re-sign in Long Island. That's another red flag. So now it's like you're not getting the Kessels, who's kind of played hockey here at college and is essentially from here, and you're not getting a guy that is from here that wants to play here. And so is this this is why I keep on saying, is he going to strike out this summer? Is he, what type of players is he going to be able to get?
And how's Tom Curvers doing?
I texted him today. I haven't heard back yet, but hopefully he's doing well. But I have not. I don't want to say exactly how he's exactly doing until I hear it from him. But I do know that he's been out playing golf and things like that, and I assume he was at today's meetings and things like that. So.
And answer your earlier question, no, there is no relation. But one of the better videos you'll see on YouTube or on the internet is the comparison between soccer and hockey.
Oh yeah.
And it's the soccer players like they're shot,
Flop.
and then Matt Calvert taking one in the teeth and coming back later on and scoring the game-winning goal.
Like Chara. So.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Tony Hoaglund handles my insurance, house and automobile. He handles Michael Russo's insurance. He's been a friend of the program and the network for a long time. It's Hoaglund, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent. He works out of Champlin, but you can work with him wherever you happen to live in the Twin Cities metro.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
Okay, so this kind of goes off of what the last guy was talking about, but I'm really, really curious about your answer to this. What specifically, player-wise, is it going to take for the Minnesota Wild to finally get there?
Well, I mean, they're not just a couple pieces away, I don't think, anymore. They've got a lot of work to do. Goaltending, they've got to get consistent goaltending. That you see is always the constant in these situations. Again, health. But I kind of said it last week. It's like they love to boast about their depth, but then they basically blame the entire season's destruction on Matt Dumba getting hurt, and that's just not. I think it's accurate, but I don't think that's a sign of a really good team. And then up front, everybody reverted last year. Everybody. There was not one guy on the roster that had a better season than they did the year before. Coyle, Nino, Granlund.
Except for Dumba.
What's that? Zucker.
Except for
Dumba, who got hurt. Stahl, Doobie, everybody. They've got to figure this out. A big story. I've talked about it a little bit, but a big part of that story today, and again, it's going to be more and more as I continue to develop this. But Paul Fenton is trying to work on the culture of this team. And this has nothing to do with the trades he's made, but he has talked to the leaders. He's trying to get them back to being, great leaders and get this team together again, because it was a fractured locker room this past season, and that's just a fact. Paul has admitted it, and so he has had a call together with Mikko, Zach, and Ryan, and he wants them all on the same page this year and kind of go in there and be ready to help this team win next season. So. And
then just one more question. Mm-hmm. How bad is Granlund leaving going to hurt us?
Well, I think it hurts. It hurts from the standpoint that, like, if you had a Phil Kessel here, who's getting him the puck, it is interesting. He's gone. Wow, what a save there. He's gone to Nashville, and he really didn't fit in there. And one big reason is I thought Turris was just terrible, and for some reason Laviolette never changed anything up. It was just crazy to me, and never really put Granlund in a position where he got to play with guys like Johansson and Forsberg, and so he just didn't produce there. But I think it's going to hurt. I don't know if Paul realizes how much not having a playmaker here. He's got to figure out a way to get that type of thing. Their center depth really concerns me. And I think he knows that. He was in Nashville where they really built to try to get better up the middle, and I know that he feels like he's going to have to do that here at some point.
Good questions. Thank you. Appreciate it. Feel free to keep coming up and asking live questions. We do appreciate it. We'll get some Twitter questions here in a moment. When you talk about, fractures in the locker room, is that Granlund, Suter, Parise, Suter, and Koivu as a group not being happy with others, or are there some fissures between those three?
No, I mean, I just think, I don't want to get too much into what I haven't reported, but I just think that together they've all got to get into, they've got to be mature and just come together and realize that the purpose of right now is to win a cup. I mean, their careers are coming, they're hitting the twilight years, especially Mikko, who's got 1 year left. And is almost certainly not going to be re-signed here. So if he wants to continue in the NHL, he's going to have to go somewhere else. You want to go out, great. And so the same thing with the other two. I mean, they're both, Zach turns 35 on July 28th. I mean, this guy wants to win a cup. And right now this team's far from that. And so I get why these guys are frustrated. Zach, Ryan, these guys are frustrated. And what it's affected is just overall kind of, being, part of a group that is all about winning and inclusiveness. I brought up the subject on Barrero a couple of weeks ago of something that bothered a lot of people inside the organization and bothered me when I saw it. But and to Zach and Ryan and to Zach and Nico's credit, they were not. To protect them, they were not on the road trip. But in Game 82, night before the end of the season, Nico Sturm and Matt Robson were essentially on their own. Didn't go to dinner with any teammates. And I just think that it was a sign of like how did teammates not even just I'm not talking about just Stahl and Suter. I'm talking about any teammate. A youngster even. How do you not invite a guy playing his second NHL game on his first ever road trip and Matt Robson, who's just kind of along for the ride the last couple of weeks of the season, out to dinner? And I saw them leaving the hotel, and I'm like, what is going on here? And that's the type of thing that, I just think that players need to be more aware on this team, and it's really up to those three guys to kind of bring them along. Same thing. I mean, we talk about the guys with the letters, but Spurgeon, we're talking about, Stahl. These guys are all part of that leadership core. And but again, even the youngsters, like it just was weird. It was a weird sight, but I think very much embodied some of the problems with this team at times. So,
Chris,
well, you guys just touch upon almost the exact subject I was going to ask, but how do Boudreau and Fenton specifically address those issues?
Well, I mean, again, Fenton's tried, but Boudreau's tried, and now it's just up to those players. And I think they've heard the message, but there's a lot of dynamics right now, Chris. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on that we'll probably get out at some point.
But you feel that it was the last week or two was just a bleep show, and
what's that?
You kind of categorize it like it's everything fell apart the last week.
With the Kessel stuff, or you?
No, I'm talking about the last 2 weeks of the season.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, they were in a bad spot. I mean, you got no Dummy, you got no Koivu, and all of a sudden Parise freaking tears his meniscus. It's like you can't even make up sometimes the stuff that happens with this team. I mean, so yeah, things fell apart at the end of the season. There's no doubt about it. So.
We're at the Tin Shed in Savage. You can find the website at tinshedmn.com. Just look up Tin Shed Savage on Twitter to check out their menu, their beer selection, their drink selection, location. Cool place to hang out. We appreciate them hosting this show. Again, next live show is June 26th, 7 o'clock at Tin Shed. And we are going to draw for 2 wild tickets. You need to be here to win. You need to also be here to enter. Also want to thank Bite Squad. If you're not near Tin Shed and you want good food, Bite Squad, bitesquad.com. Download the Bite Squad app. Upload your information. Makes ordering everything easy. They deliver breakfast anywhere, lunch anywhere, dinner anywhere, late night, restaurant quality food. They also have a $5.99 deal per month where you get free delivery within a 4-mile radius for the month, which ends up being a good deal if you like having good food delivered to your place. So thanks to Bite Squad, thanks to Tin Shed. Fire away.
Of our 200 shows, how many do you think Vicky and Clyde have been to?
197.
Yeah. God, that's so.
I gave him a punch card.
Yeah.
They have 197 punches on it, and they're going to win a handshake from Michael Russo.
No wonder Vicky walks into these podcasts looking mortified. But she keeps on coming for more. So.
She's trying to prove something. We just don't know what.
Yeah.
Well, I assume Vicky was in prison for those 3 other shows, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know.
I know you didn't want to touch on that.
She doesn't like to talk about it.
Actually, the one that's in prison is Clyde, who's being dragged here.
He's a good sport about it, though.
Yeah.
I held back on this because I assumed it would be asked by now, because to me it was one of the biggest stories you've dropped as in recent memory. But would you mind telling the entire story about Mark Langston?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's funny. I mean, it really is exactly what I said in that tweet to Phil Hughes. But Phil Hughes had a really funny. I'm friends with Phil, and we were in fantasy leagues together and things like that. He really is just a great guy. And he found out, somebody on Reddit, a kid when he was 21, pointed out that Phil Hughes basically didn't sign a ball for him on his 21st birthday. And Phil saw this like 8 or 10 years later. Somebody tweeted it to him to show him this Reddit thread, and he felt awful and worked his magic on Twitter to find out how to get this guy that's now probably like 31, a baseball. But regardless, I wrote back to Phil Hughes, and it's true. I used to go to Shea Stadium all the time. We used to go to all the batting practices, Mets, but I was a huge Expo fan, huge. And so whenever they'd play the Expos, we'd show up early, and I'd want to meet guys like Tim Wallach and Tim Raines and Gary Carter and Randy Johnson, things like that. But Mark Langston was there once, and we were behind the third base dugout, which at Shea was the visiting dugout, and he was signing autographs, and I was probably 10 years old, and I threw him a baseball when he wasn't looking. And boom, plunked it right on the face, and he looked like he was going to kill somebody. But then he picked up the baseball and he signed it I'm not exactly religious, but he signed it Mark Langston, and then put the John whatever that. I probably
316
offended half the audience, but yeah. So yeah.
Michael, if they aren't offended by now, we're pretty
exactly.
safe.
So I had that baseball forever, and it just kind of reminded me of just how cool that he might have been. He was cool about it. So Tim Wallach was my favorite baseball player of all time, and I've told this story a gazillion times. But the Expos used to train, spring training down in West Palm Beach, and so my grandparents lived in Boca Raton. So every spring break, my brother and I would go down to Boca to go visit our grandparents, and they bring us to all the spring training games. I used to wait for Tim Wallach after every game and carry his bags to his car. And so fast forward, I'm covering the Marlins during the 2004 lockout, and he's the hitting coach for the LA Dodgers, and they're in for a spring training game in Jupiter, or wherever the heck. Yeah, Jupiter is where the Marlins had spring training. And so I went up to him and I told him the story, and he absolutely remembered it. And so he just thought it was so cool. So I'm covering the Wild, so now this is 10 years later, actually probably longer. It's 10 years later, and we're at a Residence Inn at Spring Hill Suites in Glendale, and the LA Dodgers are staying at our hotel. And I think he was still with the LA Dodgers. And I'm basically stalking the breakfast, waiting for Tim Wallach to come there. And I happen to sit at his table, and I tell him the story again. And he looks at me and goes, "Didn't you tell me this story once?" I'm like, I can't. And then I was so excited that he remembered this story. So anyway,
great stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wow, look at you! You're back. Mike Burgoyne.
Mike, you're here.
Mike is a longtime listener that would call up and ask me, how come Houston, he'd be always upset with the prospect pool in Houston.
Now he's got bigger problems.
And years later, you were right.
Yeah, he was right. He was ahead of his time.
Yep.
Okay.
Boy, nothing changes with this team.
No, we are pretty much, this team down there is still terrible.
Yeah. Well, they made the playoffs this year, but it was a bunch of minor league guys.
Career minor leaguers.
Veteran minor leaguers, yep.
So Zucker's obviously probably about to be gone. My question is, it's been clear for a while we have too many left wingers. Mm-hmm. Why did it take, this will be the 4th big trade for Fenton to realize we should go after a right winger?
Yeah. And you know what? They would love Anders Lee, but it's sort of the same thing. Where do you put him? And if you're Anders, when you look at this roster, you're where am I going? So you're right. I agree. That was my issue with a lot of the moves he made last year, is that nothing seemed to mesh. There were no fits. It was a disjointed team. And again, rookie GM. I think he's just trying to get players. He really wanted Kevin Fiala, obviously. But you're right. I mean, if you look at most moves that he made last year, just like same thing. It's like, I know you wanted Anthony Bitetto, but you can't make that move a day after acquiring Brad Hunt. It just doesn't make sense. And I think those are the type of things that he's going to learn. I remember during Chuck Fletcher's first year, his rookie year, he made mistakes too. He made the Kobasu trade. St. Louis just took a 1-0 lead.
Wow.
Was that Ryan O'Reilly on the tip? So I'm texting with Ryan O'Reilly's mom last night. So I sent. I gotta read this.
Mom name drops. Name dropping moms.
Yeah. So did you guys see? I really rattled this player. Oh man. So did you guys see that? Ryan O'Reilly bought. I mean, this is just so classic. I think I can read this. It's so funny. So Ryan Riley was at a guitar. Oh, you'll love this. He was at a Guitar Center in Boston and sees this guy jamming and all this stuff, starts talking to him, diehard Bruins fans, buys the guy the guitar.
Really?
Yeah. So the guy puts out a tweet basically like, again, diehard Bruins fans, good guy alert, just met Ryan O'Reilly, bought the guitar while sessioning at Guitar Center in Boston, great player, unreal guy. And he puts it out there with a picture of the receipt and the guitar.
Let me see the guitar.
Acoustic guitar.
Acoustic. Okay, I don't like acoustics.
Yeah. So I sent it to, what would be his proud mom, and she just wrote me back the funniest note. She goes, "Thanks, Mike. Just read it and thought it was funny. Trying to buy a few fans. Very nice." How funny is that?
That's awesome.
What the heck was your question? What did you ask?
I think you covered it.
Okay.
I have one more, though.
Okay.
I'm glad you
we were in the middle of something, no? I can't remember. Anybody remember?
Why Fenton didn't go after right wingers earlier?
Oh, I was saying just like the Bitetto Hunt thing. Chuck Fletcher. I mean, look at his rookie year. He made the Kobasu move. I don't know if that was the greatest move in the world. Although, really what he gave up was nothing. Remember he gave up like that Falstrom kid, I think his name was, from Shattuck, and everybody Wild fans flipped out because they thought that they gave away the next Thomas Holmstrom, and that guy never played. And then, remember, that was his first draft. They drafted that. I think it was Falstrom from Shattuck and Eric Holla from Shattuck. And they gave away the right guy. But the other one was the Nick Leddy for Cam Barker trade. Paul just kind of manifested a lot of the mistakes. It was just another one, a couple of them. But again, you live and you learn. I mean, that's the one thing about GMs. He's also the new guy in the block. So, other GMs are calling him and with their tongues out, trying to force him into this, and now, his John Chayka made some huge mistakes, mistakes when his rookie year in Arizona, and he's gotten much better at times. In fact, I think that Martin Hansel trade, he might have fleeced somebody. So
it's not hard to fleece Fletcher.
Okay.
But okay. Second question.
We're trying to be positive today.
I thought we were just trying to be positive about Fenton.
Yeah, exactly.
So you brought up Anders Lee. I looked him up. He's a left shot. Does he play right wing?
No, he would need to play left wing.
Okay, so what would be the point of that?
Yeah, just that he's a winner and awesome. It's like, you almost make that move and then you just hope you could figure out a way to make it work. I mean, I agree. That it's fun. I will say this, and I probably shouldn't because this is part, but I brought up, I think Fenton would like Anders, but he even said, where do you put him? And, and those are other reasons why some of the moves he maybe made this offseason, or this in the middle of the season didn't make sense, because if you're planning ahead to go hard after an Anders Lee, then maybe you just can't make that move, X move. So whatever. I mean, I agree with you. I would love Anders here, though. I just think that guy, he would also walk in that locker room and be like, come on, all right, gentlemen, hop aboard. That guy's a winner. Highest character of most people I know. But the question is, after Jeff Skinner's deal, and by the way, I don't know if you remember, about 2 or 3 podcasts ago, I said that Skinner was going to get $9 million, and I thought, remember I said, I'm like, as you can see, I thought it was done. I didn't realize that it was just something that I just screwed that up. I could have broken that, but it was something a source told me that I just figured it was out on my drive here, and I didn't know that. And then it happened, 2 weeks later. But what I said in that thing with Skinner is that on Andrews' point is it's a good thing Andrews didn't sign on Long Island, and bad news that Lamoriello didn't sign him, because now all of a sudden Holy mackerel. I mean, Andrews' now contract is going to go up. It's got to start with a minimum 8, but probably 9. So
in your article today, you mentioned, or Fenton mentioned that he thought Fiala was a natural right wing.
Yeah, right wing.
And being a left shot, how does that work? Do you think that's true, or is that just Fenton trying to like defend the
Could
trade?
be both. I mean, I would say that.
Good question.
Yeah, no, it is. I was surprised at that. That's why I put it in quotes, because I didn't want people to be like, kind of like, are you smoking? But I agree. But there are some people that I mean, a lot of the Europeans, mostly Russians, but a lot of Europeans do love to play on their offside. Look at Alex Ovechkin. Look at Pavel Bure. A lot of Russians grow up playing on they want to come into the zone where they could cut to the middle on their forehand, where defending it's the problem. But he's saying that Fiala, but I do want to almost fact check it with Fiala, because I just kind of remember, when Fiala was acquired and I interviewed him for the first time in Winnipeg, and he was a great interview that day. And he said, I'll play anywhere, but I remember him saying, I'm usually a left wing, but they're going to have me play right wing here. So I gotta check that out. So, but the reality is that Fiala is going to have to play Fiala or Donato or Zucker or Parisi or whoever. I mean, there's or Greenway. I mean, there are going to have to be a couple guys that play on the right side. So, but I could also see the Wild, if they could create some roster spot. There are some interesting right wings available. I mean, I think the Wild would love Joe Pavelski. There's obviously Eberle out there. Wayne Simmons is somebody to keep an eye on. I could see the Wild being interested in him. Donskoy, Corey Perry. Anyway, we're just going to go old and slow now.
The show, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, subscribing to The Athletic.
Thank you.
For you, but also still a Star Tribune.
Thank
so I just
you.
want to say
we
that
both
first
appreciate
of all.
it.
Thanks.
My favorite other writer to read that writes about hockey on The Athletic is a guy named Don, and then First of all, how do you pronounce his name?
I have no
My brother
clue.
and I
Lashujan or something.
Okay.
I don't know. He shadowed me at a Toronto game like 2 seasons ago, and he is like, this guy is way above his years. I mean, he's a young kid. He was shadowing
looks
me.
young, yeah.
And he is brilliant. I mean, he's one of our analytics writers, and he did a number on Paul last week, which I don't think he was pleased with.
Yeah. I actually wanted to ask about one of his other articles.
Wow, Blues up 2-0. How about that?
Yeah.
Of course, if you're listening to this tomorrow, you already know that.
Wow.
Go right ahead.
It was 7.9 seconds left, too.
Wow.
Petro. I was talking to somebody today that told me Petro stinks. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's a heck of a player. This, by the way, can I interrupt you on a just totally serious? I was just talking to an agent, and we were talking about the Blue Liners next year. And, it's unbelievable, the free agents that are like Krug and Petro and Yossi and Spurgeon. It's like on and on and on of, like, stud defensemen that are up next year. Sorry, what was your question?
Sorry, I was just watching the replay. That was a nice goal.
Beautiful goal.
He wrote an article about 15 ways that would improve the on-ice product of the NHL, I don't know, like a month ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And about every one, I was like, yes, absolutely. But the main one was 4-on-4 all the time, or Olympic-size ice.
Yeah.
Do you think the players have gotten so good and so big in the modern era that they've outgrown the surface?
Yeah, except the Wild. Now we're going to be positive. Oh, no, that's 3-on-3.
Keep going.
Brandon?
Oh, no, Brandon is not erasing any of this. In fact, no, what we're going to do, we're going to take this section and move it to the front.
Yeah, the problem with, I read that too, and I don't disagree with them, but the problem with all that stuff is, one, the PA would never agree to.
It'll never happen.
Yeah,
but
like
would it make the product better?
Oh yeah, I think it would. I absolutely think it would. Although I love, I love 5-on-5 hockey. I love what it's become. I just think this is a fast physical sport. It scares me of what 4-on-4 would become, because I think you'd have a lot of fatigue out there. You might get the 9-8 game, but to me. And then the Olympic size sheet, I am one against that. I don't like the Olympics. I hate international hockey. I think it's horrifically boring. I think it's easy to coach the death out of that to make it a 1-0, 2-1 game. And then the other thing is just in all these arenas, I mean, you're not, Clyde knows. I mean, these arenas, one, you can't take, these GMs are not, the owners are not going to agree to have revenue taken out of their arenas. But two, these arenas are basically, they're unfixable. I mean, they are built for the NHL-sized rink, and you can't all of a sudden just spend millions of dollars renovating all these arenas.
Did they look at that in the 2003 lockout?
They talked about it, but that was basically the reason why they didn't do it. And then they actually went to uniform ice because, like, when I first started covering the league, I mean, you go to places like Chicago Stadium, Boston Garden. I didn't go to those arenas. I mean, the only arenas that I went to, I've covered probably 50 arenas by now, but I never got to see a game in Boston Garden or Chicago Stadium or the old Forum or things like that. I did see Maple Leaf Gardens. I did cover one game there, the final year at Maple Leaf Gardens. Obviously, I was at Reunion Arena, but all those ice sheets were different. It was home ice advantage. It was like going to a ballpark, and every dimension was different. And you go to some of these arenas and look at it on TV, and it was different. I mean, but now every rink is 200 by 100. So.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Good questions. Great questions from everybody tonight. I asked for Twitter questions earlier. We haven't even gotten any because we've had so many good questions here. Yep. Keep the streak alive.
Did you have your date with Lunani yet?
Not yet.
He's looking
Did he agree to do it? He's like in the middle of the ocean right now.
Yeah, he agreed. We'll see what happens. But.
And he's not even kidding. He will do it. He will be humbled and love it. Yeah.
He looked very serious.
He might even let you talk a little bit.
I hope so. So you obviously have a lot of sources, right?
Maybe.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, what is their motivation for wanting to give you this information?
That's a complex question. It's a complex question.
Well, I was a beat
we'll
writer.
Talk over a couple beers.
I was a beat writer for a long time. I can probably be less diplomatic than Michael is. Some people actually like the truth being out there. Some people want to cultivate good reporter sources that they can get information from. Some people want a horse trade. They know if they feel like Michael has a great source in the Wild organization and they can give him some information, they might get some information back.
No.
And some of it's just
some of it's also manipulative. Like if all of a sudden,
absolutely.
If all of a sudden, if that person's feeding you information, they think that you'll pull punches. On them.
Or they think that the next time there's a general manager open, you will put their name in the paper as a potential hire and get their name out there.
Like I talked to a GM today that was just a wealth of info, and it's just because it's longevity. I've known him forever. Like you hate to say we're buddies, but I've known him forever, and it's like that all the time. And that is. Not to give too much inside baseball here because it was a total off-the-record conversation, but that's the type of stuff that I'm trying to convey when I met with Paul the other day is that, like, look, this is not coming from inside your organization, almost everything I know. And that's just a fact, it just is. And longevity. I mean, this is going to sound almost in a pompous way, but I've been asked at our athletic meeting in Vancouver in next week is to almost do a seminar on cultivating sources and breaking news because at the Athletic we're all about storytelling and things like that. Where I'm probably less about storytelling and more on the old newspaper beat writer. I can't get that out of me. It will never be. And that's the great thing about the Athletic, by the way, is they want you to cover the beat the way that you know how to cover the beat. So I want to cover the beat like a hard ass, and some people it rubs the wrong way. So next week I'm meeting and I'm doing this thing, and that's gonna be weird because I'm talking to a bunch of my colleagues that also I don't want to sit there and lecture, but I mean that's kind of a lot of it is longevity. I'm working with there are other writers at the Athletic that are 22 years old that that have covered the NHL for 1 year, and I'm 35. And covered the league for 25. So it is. So I always say also, like, one joke I always tell everybody is that, like, if you cover a dysfunctional franchise, you're usually going to have a lot of people coming to your information. And if you cover a lot of GMs and coaches and owners, you usually, when those people get fired, as long as you have good relations with them, they're usually all of a sudden sources. And in Florida, man, I mean, I covered I just sound like Nate Prosser. Frick. He says frick. like I covered probably 12 coaches down there, and like 6, 7 GMs, and heck, I mean about 20 owners. And so I was thinking today about what like that franchise still, it's just unreal. They have not won a playoff round since Doug McClain was the coach in 1996. Isn't that insane? You think you have it bad here? Oh. Anyway.
Back to beat writing part.
But Jason, you and I'll come on that date with Lou, with you, and everybody always gets the real story. Ask Vicky and Clyde and Brian, who come on my Europe trips. You usually get the real story after a couple of glasses of wine.
Yeah.
Or one glass of wine.
But I covered the Dallas Cowboys, came here to cover the Vikings.
I'm good for a couple of rants.
The fact that I had sources in Dallas, I made relationships in Dallas. If I heard something here, I could call them for confirmation. And Michael's covered a million teams and a million different general managers. So you just build up a wealth of people you can go to. And it's like I've been hanging out with Michael on the road, and we'll have dinner plans. He goes, "Oh, nope, I got to go out with this player or this scout."
Yeah.
I mean, you sit down with somebody one-on-one who's an honest person, they're going to end up telling you something.
My calendar right now for Vancouver is insane. I don't know what I'm going to write. The amount of meetings I have with agents and scouts. But what was it in Vancouver? We were about to go something, and I'm like, I got to go.
We're at covering the Olympics in Vancouver, and we're hanging out a lot. And sometimes you go, nope, I got to text.
Well, the big one, I remember at the 2004. Oh, this is awful. At the 2004 All-Star Game here in Minnesota, I'm out to dinner with my 2 competitors from the Miami Herald and the Palm Beach Post, and I get a call that Rick Dudley, who I talked to today, is stepping down as he was the interim coach and the GM of the Panthers, and I got a scoop that he was while at the All-Star game, that when we got back, that John Torchetti was going to be the interim coach of the Panthers, and he was just going to step back to manage the team going to the trade deadline. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at these 2 guys, and I'm just like, I think I made up a story that somebody was sick in my family or maybe even died. Okay, it was one of those 2, and somebody might have died, and I left. We were where we were at the old Chevys in downtown Minneapolis. Again, who knew that a year later I was going to be the beat writer for the Minnesota Wild? So we're at the old Chevys, and I run back to the Marriott, and I make a bunch of calls, and shockingly, it was as running as fast as I can run. And I was in better shape back then, and so I get to my hotel. I break the story, and again, there's no like Twitter. So the next morning at the airport, these guys are getting calls, and I had front page, Torchetti to take over Wild coach, and these guys were just so pissed off because I lied about the death in the family.
I thought your mom looked fine last week.
Yeah. It was fun talking to Duds today, just talking old stories, Panthers. Holy crap, some of the stories there. You think this is bad here sometimes? An unbelievable one was Stephen Weiss is the first-round pick from the Panthers. And Stephen, we're at Game 9, we're in Chicago, and that night before, Rick Dudley tells me on the phone we're keeping him. He's not going back to juniors, okay? And all of a sudden, I get to United Center, and Stephen Weiss is coming out of the Panther locker room with his bag, crying. Well, right away, and he's been sent back to juniors from Mike Keenan. So right away, I'm kind of pissed off. I called Dudley. I'm like, why'd you lie to me? He goes, what the hell are you talking about? He's in St. Louis scouting. And I go, Weiss is leaving the United Center right now in a cab. And he goes, what? And he hangs up, calls me back. He goes, don't go anywhere. And he drove from St. Louis to Chicago going like 100 miles an hour to go meet with Keenan and just tear him to pieces. And Weiss wound up staying. But that was the beginning of that fractured relationship. So like we were talking about stuff like that today. That was I could tell. One day we should just do a podcast where I tell Mike Keenan stories. That was a treat covering him. So there was something else you said that triggered something in my head about cultivating sources, but that's really it. I mean, in Vancouver, it's just it's a mutual respect thing too. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Is and the other thing is as a writer, I think that the people. I remember Jacques Lemaire. My first couple of weeks on the beat, he was trying to figure me out. Florida beat writer coming up and covering this team, and blah blah blah. And once he realized how much I loved the sport and how much I knew the sport, That's all they care about. Hockey people want beat writers that love the sport and have a passion for it. And they recognize, most people recognize that right away and respect that.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, in my experience covering the Twins, is people would come up and tell me stuff because they knew news was going to come out eventually. They wanted me to have it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and what, that's the fun part. Like, that's what makes this job fun. Like, every scoop I've ever had, I could tell you exactly the scenario of how it was broken, what it was done. Like, that stuff sits in my head. As I've gotten older, it's gotten, I used to sit in any arena in this league and could tell you like 25 notebook leads I've written from inside that arena. Like, I remember this and this says, that stuff is dissipated a bit as I've gotten into my late 30s. But breaking news stories, I mean, that's what I love about the beat. I mean, and that's, again, that's what I was trying to explain to Paul. Like, you're just not going to take that out of me. Like, I'm a reporter first, a writer second. That's the way I'm always going to be. That's why I got into this business. That's what I love about this business. I love, trust me, covering the hockey games. But I'm going to work to find out news, and that's just the way it is. I don't work for the Wild. I write for the fans, and it kills me sometimes because that's what keeps me up at night. All the stuff that I do know that I can't write or report or say, except to Vicky in Europe. I remember last year we're at St. Mark's Square. We're sitting in St. Mark's Square in the middle of freaking Venice, and I'm sitting with Clyde and Vicky and my mom, and I'm just like on a roll. And poor Vicky, I fractured her. I ruined her. Like, she was just I was just on a roll about the Wild. So you get me in those situations. See, it's worth coming on these trips. There's still some room. Going to Europe in 2 weeks.
Or just buy him a beer right now. He'll crack like an egg.
Oh, Brian will get a kick out of this. So in Dublin a couple of years ago, I don't know, John, if you were John Hedges, if you were in this little bar, but we're in this little bar in Edinburgh. And it's the first night, and I'm holding court with all these people. And Andy and Claudine have become two of my closest friends here in Minnesota. Their son, Rhino, is studying abroad in Ireland, but came to Scotland, if I remember, to hang out with them, obviously. And so we're in this little bar, and Ryan at the time is probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or 21. And I'm talking about the Wild, and this poor guy, he's just getting more and more heartbroken. Because that's where you get the kind of unfiltered stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Hey, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it. Thanks to Tin Shed for hosting and sponsoring the program. Great stuff from Michael. This is great storytelling. We'll get back to more nuts and bolts hockey. I asked for Twitter questions. We didn't get to any because there were so many good questions here that sparked conversations. So let's all give Michael a happy birthday and a round of applause. And remember, we'll be back here June 26th, 7 o'clock, and we will give away 2 Wild tickets. Thanks to Brian from Tin Shed for supplying that. And again, thanks to everybody who's made the show a success. One more time. Give Michael happy birthday applause. Make him blush.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
There's something celebratory about Bubbles. Our ridiculous selection of champagne and sparkling wines will make the holidays pop.
Who couldn't use a friendly wine elf? I can help you find the perfect bottle at just the right price.
Deep frying a turkey this year? A rich and earthy Chateau Neuf de Pape would make an interesting pairing.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you this holiday. Now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers!
From the kids to Aunt Sue. Keep your whole family connected on all their devices with crowd-pleasing gig-speed internet from Xfinity. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit today. Restrictions apply. Actual speed vary and not guaranteed.